and try and encourage you to step out into a new area of life, perhaps you've never done, which is the spirit of adventure and mission. And John's got a lot of exciting stories involving guns and everything else you can think of. So we're going to have a good time this morning. I wanted to share with you, though, the verse that was just read in Isaiah 58. Also, Matthew 25 deals with it. It talks about in the judgment, Christ will separate those who have done His will on His right hand with those who have not on His left hand. And He says, "You did it unto one of the least of these, my brethren. You clothed the naked. You fed the hungry." Well, it's interesting to know, Seventh-day Adventists hold very highly, with equal inspiration as the Bible, the writings of Ellen White. And something she wrote was a book called The Desire of Ages, talking about the life of Christ. One of the chapters in that book is called "The Least of These, My Brethren." And I want to read to you a couple things that are quite jaw-dropping, if you will. "Thus Christ on the Mount of Olives pictured to His disciples the scene of the great judgment day. And He represented its decision as turning upon one point. When the nations are gathered before Him, there will be but two classes, and their eternal destiny will be determined by what they have done or have neglected to do for Him in the person of the poor and the suffering. In that day, Christ does not present before men the great work He has done for them in giving His life for their redemption. He presents the faithful work they have done for Him. Those whom Christ commends in the judgment may have known little of theology, but they have cherished His principles. Through the influence of the Divine Spirit, they have been a blessing to those about them. Even among the heathen are those who have cherished the spirit of kindness. Before the words of life have fallen upon their ears, they have befriended the missionaries, even ministering to them at the peril of their own lives." Which you're going to hear some of that this morning. "Among the heathen are those who worship God ignorantly, those to whom the light is never brought by human instrumentality, yet they will not perish. Though ignorant of the written law of God," hope you're hearing this, "they have heard His voice speaking to them in nature, and have done the things that the law required. Their works are evidence that the Holy Spirit has touched their hearts, and they are recognized as the children of God." I think you're going to hear from Jonathan this morning that is very true in the environment he's working in. A few years ago, a few of us came together and decided, how do we use the talents the Lord has given to us, as well as use the tool which Christ used when He came on the earth to reach people. And that was help. So we formed something called the Beehive International, which was formed on the premise of a vision that saw many church members involved with reaching the community, like bees of a beehive. And so we said, all right, in America, that would look like this. That would be cooking classes, health seminars, all these different things where we have too much to eat and we need to know what to eat out of those things. In other countries, it's not having too much to eat, it's we don't have anything to eat. So in other countries, it's how do I grow food? Or should I eat all my chickens and pigs? Should I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom? Like in India, where I wipe with one of my hands. Do I go to the bathroom in my kitchen? Or should I do it outside? Things that we may take for granted here are very urgent, present truth in the mission field, outside this country in the third world. So we desire to use help to reach people. And one of the things that we've had a great burden for is helping people become self-sustained. I think you'll notice the message is titled, "Teach a Man to Fish." How many of you have heard that expression? Have you heard that expression? All right. For anybody that hasn't, here's the short of it. You give a man a fish, and you have fed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, and you have fed him for a lifetime. So that's been our desire. How do we go somewhere, not just build a building, or build a church, and wish them well, and go back to our posh lifestyle in America? What has come of that has been, let's go and use the one principle that is the greatest occupation since the dawn of creation, the very first occupation, which is teach them how to grow their own food. We understand today that animals are diseased. Animal products cause cancer via studies like the China study and other things. So we've desired to take that information coming out of America, where we understand that the animals are diseased, and we want to teach these people how to grow their own plants, how to sell them in the marketplace, make their own plant-based food products, if you will, and then eat those in their houses, learn how to cook with those foods, and become healthier citizens of their community. So John's going to share with you, is it working? You think? Yeah? Okay, everybody John up. John's going to share with you, John and I have known each other since about the 5th grade. We played basketball in elementary school together, and through high school, let's see, some of the things we did, we probably wouldn't mention up here, but one of the things you can say was, I think we missed more school our junior year than we attended. And the only way that was allowed was because we were the top students in our class. We were aced the tests. We spent more time on the mountain snowboarding, I think, than we could possibly remember. So we had a lot of wonderful experiences together. But we were as worldly as you could get. And so after high school, we went to college, and we went to different universities, Adventist universities, and we both got the same degree, international business. I think our desire was import and export out of China. That's what everybody's doing. Make lots of money. You don't mind. I'll get you that. Okay. Do that too. But make lots of money, and then all the rest will fill itself out. And that led us down different paths, but it all came back together when I invited John to go to India in 2007. We went to India together, and everything changed. And after that, we began to study. I think all around the same time, we began to study the books. A lot of the books that collect dust on many of our shelves, we began to study. We began to study our Bibles. And so I'm going to ask John to kind of share what was it in India that got your attention, and then describe a little after that of what countries that led you to, and I'll catch up in a second.
All right. The trip to India was a very coy plan on your side. I kind of got tricked from running computer systems to running a whole mission trip for a small village. We went as a group. Somebody else got sick. Jared was like, okay, I have to leave and leave you here all by yourself. So I went from not having any experience at all to praying for people that had exposed bones sticking out of the side of their body, praying for people with retardation, and people that are using the toilet and drinking out of the same water source. Very, very sad situations. And they're coming to me for prayer. And I was the last person to come to for prayer. And they're just depending on me to save them. And it really changed what was important in my life. I went home and pretty much just sold everything I had to go back and try that again. I met up with Sean Luther from It Is Written, and he knew of a school that I could go to in Romania. So I left a very nice house in Orange County and wrote a $5,000 lease and left everything to go to school in the mountains of northern Romania. Lived in the hills for 6 months, learned survival and remote missionary training skills. And then as a result of that, they sent me to the Amazon, where I worked for 6 months in the jungle. It took 3 days by canoe and then 1 day by foot to get to the village that we were helping. And that was a very big experience. And along the way, I grow and change and learn and grow and change and get better. And I then came home and talked to Jerry again, and we moved forward with Project India, and where I worked north of Calcutta jungle for a little over a year with Thurmon and the Beehive, and then after that, went to Haiti.
Okay, so I want to jump in right quick. If everybody has your Bibles, we can kind of give you a little bit of context of why John was northeast of Calcutta, in the area of Calcutta, India. The reasoning for this whole endeavor was we began to see something taking place in the world. Obviously, it had been taking place for a long time. But when you start to see it in the Bible, and then so well delineated out in books written hundreds of years ago, you start to say, all right, something's up. And that something is, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 14. We've talked about this before here in this church, but there's a war between good and evil. A few years from now, there will be no atheists left on the earth, because the supernatural is going to take over this planet. We understand some things about the devil from Isaiah 14 about how he works. One of those things is, in Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 16, Isaiah chapter 14 verse 16 says, they that see thee, this is kind of a denouncement on the devil. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and here's the key phrase, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. It goes on down a little bit in verse 21 to say, prepare slaughter for his children from the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Okay, so about 20 years ago in Rio, there was Agenda 21 that kind of came together with the United Nations, which was basically how do we get the whole world into cities and basically the devil's going to destroy the cities, but it's control the resources because of the whole global warming thing and control. So we realized this, seeing this in Scripture, and where John and I kind of came together, my dad and Rico and others, we realized we've got to find a way to get people out of cities into the countryside where they can grow their own food. Otherwise, they're toast according to Bible prophecy. They've got to grow their own food. So that's what led us to the farm in India, and now to Haiti. And hold on, I have one more question I can ask you before we jump right into that. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is our inspiration. It's Isaiah chapter 27 and verse 6. It says, what would happen if God's people were to do what they needed to do on the earth? Isaiah chapter 27 verse 6 says, he shall cause them to come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with what? Fruit. Direct contrast. If the evil rule the world, they fill the face of the world with cities. If God's people rule the world, they fill the face of the world with gardens and fruit. So that brought us to India, and then to Haiti. And so John, maybe you can share us a little bit of jump into Haiti and how we got there.
All right. This was a very powerful book for me here at the beginning. I actually just found it not too long ago. Now, as never before, we need to understand the true science of education. If we don't understand this, we shall never have a place in the kingdom of God. That's pretty powerful. The true science of education is some of what we've been talking about. It's agriculture, it's manual trades, it's not studying one subject for a long time, coming out with a lot of debt, and then dying in a cubicle somewhere outside.
And that's how it's familiar. We have that experience. Oh, sorry.
Love that. This is where we've been for the last year and a half in Haiti. Just last Port-au-Prince, about an hour in Carrefour. We're staying at the Adventist Hospital. And they've been very, very good to us that let us stay there. And we've been able to help them a lot with their agriculture and landscaping and training. You can see the Adventist University there. They have a huge piece of property. They all used to be true education, all used to be blueprint education. They have a place to work on vehicles that they filled with trash and stuff. They have bakery. They've got one of the best radio stations. They've got the best packaging and shipping company. They can be completely self-sustaining. They have a river that runs through. They have a gas station. They have a block factory. ADRA, the hospital, and all the university are all on this property. The property used to go all the way to the ocean. it's the best property in the area, and it could be a fully self-supporting blueprint education training ground. We have a lot of volunteers that came down this past 6 months, and did a lot of work with orphanages, a lot of work in the hospital, and a lot of planting and teaching the kids. A lot of people from Loma Linda came, 24 people from Loma Linda came and did a large project for the orphanages in the Northwest, and that was fun. It was a big project.
Now, let me ask, when you say you did work for the orphanages, what type of work was it? What was your primary things you were doing?
We want to go in and fix the major problems right away. Fix trash that's accumulated in the grounds. Take the kids to the hospital if needed. Provide basic necessities of food and water. And then after that, we planted gardens. We taught classes on health. We improved security problems. And improved their health standard of living, brought running water. We brought the stoves they can cook with propane gas instead of charcoal. There's some pictures of the orphanage work that we've done. Philip Weigel came and stayed for 6 months and saw a lot of agriculture things. The ones Philip there. This is at the hospital. We took their worst part of their property and turned it into a farm. This is pilot glass, and we picked up all throughout the property, and all by hand. And then big pile of rocks, all just one rock at a time, and collected all the rocks, and turned what was where they had been dumping trash, dumping a lot of medical waste, old syringes, 50-year-old syringes. We got needles, stuff with needles, Philip burst a blood vial, and the blood split onto it. So it was kind of a difficult place to grow. But we took the worst areas and planted food, and now they have food through the cafeteria. The workers that are working there that are just trying to get by in life are growing food and taking food home and food for their family and selling food as a little farm crop. When we grew up, we had several plots, all sorts of types of beans, zucchini, squash, cucumbers, okras, like fruit trees, orange trees, avocado trees, almond, moringa, showed about the powerful properties of the moringa plant.
Now, of these seeds, the Haitians, do they accept GMO seeds in this country?
They get donations of GMO seeds, and they'll pretty much take whatever donations they get. So Monsanto donates, and they take them. But we got donated seeds from Baker Creek, and they're a great organization that has heirloom seeds, and so we're trying to plant as much of that as we can. A friend of ours that we're talking about partnering with is trying to start a seed bank, so he can collect all the seed, share the seed with the community. When the community plants and harvests, they can bring back more seed, bring back different varieties of seed, and it can kind of be a loan from the seed bank to start their farm, and then the farmers can bring back 10 times as much seed very easily, and it can supply the whole community with heirloom seed.
So just so everyone's clear with this principle, John, can you describe, our goal is to create where people become independent and self-sustaining. Can we do that with GMO seed?
The GMO seed is engineered so that you purchase the seed, grow up the crop, and then you can't collect the seed. You can't continue farming. So you have to go and purchase more seed. And when you purchase the seed, you need to get the pesticide that goes with it, and the herbicide that goes with it, and the accelerant that goes with it, and all the chemicals that the company just happens to produce for you. So it's very good for the company that produces all the product, but then the farmer can't continue to collect the seed and plant the seed. So it takes something that God has provided for all of us to use and to multiply, and patents it and controls it and makes it a corporate breeding situation. So it's very cool.
And what's the difference with heirloom?
Heirloom seed is the natural protected variety that hasn't been messed with, that it grows up and produces a whole bunch of seeds, and you can just let the seed plant again. You plant potatoes grow up, all you do is take the potatoes back and put it back in the ground and grow some more potatoes. So with an initial investment, you started the whole process. You can continue to survive without the need for purchasing from the company.
Okay, so there used to be this school on the West Coast called, I think it's Oberlin College. Oberlin would send out their graduates with a cob of corn. Basically, imagine this today instead of your diploma, that's what gone to school to get a diploma. Here's your corn. Now they would take this cob of corn and they would go east. They would plant these little kernels. If you ever planted corn, you'll understand this. So you have this cob of corn, you plant the kernels, and then that next year, you have this whole area, let's say, with this one cob of corn has turned into a corn crop. And that one cob of corn has turned into 600 cobs of corn. Then you save some of those seeds, and you do it again next year. In 3 or 4 years, you're a wealthy farmer. So that one cob of corn that the college would send people out with helped them get started in life. Seems very fair, right? So not only is the GMO thing, we're seeing it in other countries. It's in India, it's prevalent. What we're seeing, though, is not just is it a form of slavery, where you want to eat, you got to come back to me and buy it, and I'll determine the price for you. And for any reason I don't like your religion, we'll leave you out on some. So that's one problem. The other problem is it's got pesticides in the genetics of the food. So it's not only a form of slavery, but it's also very bad for us. So the devil, when it says here in Isaiah, thou wilt weaken the nations, which also means disease, basically the devil's not just trying to enslave humanity, he wants to kill us all. So that's really our mission. How do we get into these countries and empower people quickly before all these GMO seeds get into a country and then you have a hard time with cross-pollination and the farmers become slaves?
So they're doing crazy things. We brought this on an article about a venomous cabbage where they mix the DNA of the scorpion with the cabbage so that when an insect bites the cabbage, it dies. So they take the E. coli virus and load it up with the DNA that makes the venom from the scorpion, put the E. coli virus into the DNA of the cabbage, and then the cabbage grows up with the venomous properties of the scorpion. So how does that sound like that's going to be good for you? E. coli and scorpion venom in cabbage, that's like a deadly salad.
Okay, well, tell us more about this. Did you buy these in the market?
Those were grown at the hospital out of the beautiful glass rocks and files that we collected. And they were very good. They were big and healthy, and it was surprisingly easy. We pretty much prepared it slow, worked hard, prepared it slow, planted it, and came back one day and they were huge. It's surprisingly easy.
Okay, yeah, you go.
And then we've had lots of volunteers who come. Kathy came. Thank you, Kathy. Wherever she is. She came and visited all the orphanages and helped taught classes in the orphanage and did a lot of help with the orphanages. We're now working with seven different orphanages, and it has turned into a huge project. So we don't have to make it. She taught health classes, which Kathy, they were asking often, when are you coming back and when are you going to continue? Her first class, there was 2 or 3 people that were kind of skeptical. The last class, there's like 25 people. And this is maybe 2 or the second or third class. You can see they're all up on the edge of their seats. They're all very engaged, very, very good students. Maybe here everyone is on their phone, but there they are zoned in on the information that they're asking. When is it going to happen again? We want to learn. The diet there is very difficult. To get good food is the most difficult thing I've ever been. It's just white rice and chicken. And it's really unhealthy chicken. It's not the charbroiled breast that you can get somewhere else. And this is just nasty chicken cooked on the side of the road and white rice. And that's what everybody eats. Pastors, Adventists, non-Adventists, everybody, just chicken and white rice. They're very interested in the health classes and the cooking classes. And you can easily go outside and find things in the farm areas. You can easily go outside and find things and create very nice dishes for your healthy farm. Several things from Loma Linda came and did the project with all the Loma Linda students, 24 volunteers, and then came back again a few months later. And she's talking about coming back again. I hope she does. We built a big wall around this orphanage they had, it's a bad neighborhood, and people drink in the streets and play soccer, and they kick the ball inside the orphanage. This used to be just like a pile of blocks that they stacked up. They kick the ball inside, and they just like move the blocks, to move the tin, they stand up and come inside. Little bottle of rum, look around, mess with the kids for a minute, go back outside. I don't know how somebody has to fix this before I got there, but it seemed like a huge problem to me. The area is such a negative area that one time we had an argument, and somebody picks up a machete, and I thought that they were going to go for one of my workers with a machete. I actually had to grab the guy by the throat and bring him to the ground and put my knee on his chest and take the machete away from him. And a huge crowd came down, and 30, 40 Asians in the street, not the only American there. And I just wrestled one of the people there, so it's not a good area. To put up a nice wall around.
Well, I agree with that also. Jonathan's not necessarily afraid of things like I'm afraid of. So let's take, for instance, diving off the largest free fall jump in Asia, and what was that thing? Big bungee jump, crazy stuff. Or the craziest thing, which maybe you didn't became stupid, was when we were in India, we chased down and had to figure out where they keep the king cobras in this country. You got to see these guys. We just had to see that, right? So it wasn't satisfactory for the rest of us to stand back and see these guys do what they do, and they're missing fingers, because the snakes are different. John goes and says, I'd like to grab one, please. And he grabs it and wraps it around his neck while this guy is just here. And we were just expecting, this would be a great end to his life, but that was not the case. So I'm sure you're going to hear another story in a minute, so I'll keep going with it. But clearly, violence and rape is a big issue in Haiti, right?
Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah. Big problem. The rape in the tent cities was a big problem. Maybe it's rape here, but maybe there it's a way to get support. It's a big problem that we go through for a long time, but pretty much ladies will be more giving in that area if they know that they can get something in return. So yeah, underage problems and lots of problems in the area. Another well-fitted game is Mary Erickson. She came to projects for the orphanages. She's actually become quite a contributor to the efforts there. Donated, her and her friends have donated maybe $20,000 worth of orphanage work and money to Beehive, and she went all around the orphanages, and those sweet little babies got into her heart, and now she's a home raised money, and she raised with a group of doctors almost $1 million for the hospital there. And their plan is to put $1 million into the bank and then live off the interest. So it's a pretty smart program to do that. You raise a large amount of money, have a goal, everybody works to fill the goal, you get there, and then you're self-supporting. The interest on the house, you can see $1 million, but definitely enough to support some work. So that's pretty smart. We brought water to the orphanage that didn't have running water. All the little kids are carrying buckets up from the river and water. And using for bathing, for cooking, and for all the things that everybody needs water. We brought them a toilet and shower, ran a whole bunch of pipes around the house and a storage tank. So now not only do they have water for all their needs and a proper situation for sanitation, but now they can sell the water. They just fill up a bucket and you can sell it to everybody. So now it's a business for them. And they also are much healthier from it.
You got the before and after, I think, of the chicken. If you started that,
more friends came. Everybody's seeing what's happening, seeing pictures and following things, and then more people come. So I had a group of friends from college that are the last people that I thought would come. So that's pretty cool. They just struck me the other day. They said times are changing and the end is near. And that's not something that these guys would have been talking about. And one of the guys says it's coming back. So they're at home, they're thinking about these things. It's kind of doing like it is for me. You go home and you can't mess around. You've seen the other side of things, and you just can't go and spend all your time and money doing things that are not valuable. But we took this orphanage, and they were cooking with charcoal inside, so it's just like a fire. They got used to it somehow. I don't see how they can get used to it. It's like a smokehouse. The smoke is just collecting and going all through the house. The windows are covered with black soot, the walls are covered, everything's covered from the charcoal. They're worried about their things being stolen or being outside, whatever, so they're cooking inside the house.
John has so many pictures of before and after. I don't know about you, but I love the whole principle of before and after. There's something about seeing it quick. So you're going to show us how you can do this.
Yeah, the next one. Well, you can go back and forth and show the same section. And when we scrubbed the roof, we scrubbed the floors, we bleached everything, we took everything outside. We painted everything, we replaced all our electrical problems. I have so many pictures and so many stories of all the problems in this place. Pretty much the kids were like in the corner, in the dark, just very, very sad. You could hold money in front of them and they would have no response. You could hold a toy in front of them, no response. You could poke them and there's no response at all. Now they're running and happy and giving hugs and kisses, and it's been a major change. Takes all their electrical stuff, so they're sitting in the dark and they smoking, just a serious problem stoves, they put the propane, and really improved the whole place. And it affected the American volunteers that came a lot too, because now they're telling their friends, and it changed how they see things. And they were very, very excited to go and do this. It was very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just so you know, John, I think he's probably been living on $200 a month for a year or two. So this isn't longer than that. Yeah, wait. So I want you to know that he literally had the degree, the education, the opportunity, and said, you know what, I'm going to do this work.
I don't know about you, but they told me that I was going to get $88,000 a year as a starting salary with my kids will be straight that I never saw. So I was honest.
Yeah.
Thank you. So then some more volunteers came, Miss Melanie Thurmon and Brittany Thurmon, and brought us a much needed, super huge bag of supplies. We took a crazy adventure to get to them. It took about 2 days. We drove my old truck that has since passed away, and it died actually. It's very sad every time we drive past it now. So it's a spot called Goat Mountain. It makes it on the Goat Mountain and passed away, and we left it on the side of the road and took chicken buses and motorcycles to get to you guys, and it was a long, long trip. You can see the truck broke down, and Larry Ronslin is a friend of ours that we're hoping to go see, but from the bottom right point to the top, we took motorcycles at top speed through dirt roads, just like sliding with multiple of us on the motorcycle. And then we got to a little boat, took a little boat, and then we met with you guys. And I wish I had more pictures, but it was pretty much raining the whole time and difficult to get pictures. But they brought us a bunch of supplies for our spring trimmers that have been donated, so that we can continue using our spring trimmers to clear farmland and to work all around the hospital area.
And this is like what to take a vegetarian mission.
Yeah, lots of veggie meat.
Okay.
And stuff for my dog there, a little Thurmon. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then lots of seeds from Baker Creek, which is very awesome to give us lots of seeds that are now growing throughout the country in multiple different spots. And another project where we brought these stoves to everybody, all the orphanages that we've been working with. Like $100 stoves, very strong, full proof. It's hard to mess them up. And the way that they cook for the kids is they have like a huge pot of rice. So a little tiny camping stove or something that's not strong is not going to prepare the food that you prepare for these 25 to 50 hungry little babies. They can eat more rice than we can eat in like 3 days. They just pile it on. But it's not like they both there. We're to be hungry, those that they can prepare for the widow and the fatherless. The ministry is just not enough. So that really speaks to us, very fatherless. It's been very fun to help the little kids. And then there's a garden that we created, and we'll get some crops out of that.
This is the orphanage?
Yeah. It's on a hillside. It was just a rock slide where they could do trash off the roof and collect it on the rock slide. Total waste of space. And we carried every single thing up the mountain. Several different groups came over a period of 8 months or so. And we carried all the blocks, all the dirt, all the sand, all the cement, all the water, the fence, everything up, and created a terraced garden for them. So now this place has their own water, and they're giving water to some water committee. They grow their own food and have something to comfort the kids. The kids are learning to grow their own food. And we also gave them a freezer, a deep freeze. So they bring product up from the bottom of the mountain, put it in the deep freeze, it raises the value of the product, and they sell it to the community that doesn't want to go down and pick up the product. Okay? So now they're pretty much self-supporting. Our idea of education takes too narrow and too low a range. There's a need for a broader scope and a higher aim. True education means more than the pursuit of a certain course of study. It means more than the preparation for the life that now is. Even in school, I just was prepared for the next step. I was prepared to go to the cubicle, to work, and prepared for the grand scheme of things. It has to do with the whole being, with the whole period of existence possible within it. The harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and spiritual powers, and prepares the students for the joy of service in this world, and for the higher joy of the wider service in the world to come. A lot of people think we're going to heaven to ride clouds and not really do anything, but this book says to me that we're going to have a wider service in the world to come, and the education now needs to prepare us for that. I think that's a big quote. And that's a good one.
Yeah, we got lots. I think that's a good slide. Hold on, let me throw something in right here. During the time of the Protestant Reformation, it was seen that the stronghold of religion was just crumbling. And so the Jesuits decided that the only way we're really going to get this is you have to get to the children. So we're going to have to re-educate them. So they went after an attack on education. And I think that's where one of the greatest things we see from Greece was their education, the philosophy. When you look at prophecy, the beast in Revelation 13 is described. What is the biggest component of that beast? Not a compass. It's a leopard. It's a leopard-like beast. The greatest thing I believe that we can learn from that is that the Catholic Church would take the Greek education philosophy and try to dominate the world with it. A part of that was educate the children in cities. So we literally have a world that does not know how to survive. So that's really this burden. I think the schools in the last days is paramount because of what we see with what's taking place in the world. Most of our schools today are in cities. We don't have farm schools anymore.
And the message to you obviously is especially important for board friends because they just came out with an article that says Port-au-Prince is third in the world, most difficult to live in, the worst quality of life in Port-au-Prince, and number one for infrastructure. So the worst place in the world for infrastructure, and the only place that's worse to live in Port-au-Prince is a place in Central Africa, which I can't remember the name, and Baghdad. So Somalia is better than Port-au-Prince. So we have schools in the last day. I, the Lord, will instruct the ignorant, and anoint the head of your eyesight, the eyes of many who are now in spiritual blindness. I will raise up agents who will carry out my will and prepare people to stand before me in the time of the end. In many places, there ought to have been provided before sanitarians in schools, good sanitarians in schools. I will establish my institutions, and these institutions become educational centers for the training of workers. So not only is there a need for the true education, but there's a special need for true education in the end times, and that our schools should not only train with true education is to train me and you to go and do good things and do good work and complete education, but it's training workers for the last days. And that, I picture an army of workers being trained to be centers, and there's going to be centers outside of all the cities, and helping those who come out of places like Port-au-Prince, which are just torture to live in. Yeah. So we have recently met a group in Upward Bound Ministries. There's a very good present through education, preparing for Christ's return group. The CEO is Ronald McLaury, and he worked for J.P. Morgan in New York. And when 9/11 attack hit, he was very traumatized from that, and it kind of woke him up, like my mission to India in 2007 kind of woke me up. So he quit his job at J.P. Morgan, and I have some pictures of the home he had before, and it was nice. And he traveled around the United States and kind of didn't know what he was going to do. Found out about the earthquake in Haiti, and he's a Haitian American, so that was just kind of natural to come back to Haiti. So he had plans to come back and purchase land. Up to the second point there, the D point. To the left is where we've been in the hospital for a year and a half. And then up 2 hours north of Port-au-Prince is where his land is.
Okay, hold on, let me say something quick. Our intention going to Haiti was we wanted to find land to develop this agricultural school so people could be trained and then they could go out and train the rest of the country. And when we felt that mission was accomplished, we then could easily go to another country. So we went to India first, and joneuler was on the acres of Swallow. 500 acres. He's there for how long? A year, painting the barns, tearing down all the marijuana crops. Seriously, that was interesting work. Okay, I'm sorry. So basically, we're getting this place totally ready, and the government says, we believe what the Beehive has done with this property, we will give it to you to fulfill your mission. And unfortunately, the brethren had issue with that, and that school is waiting to be turned on. And so we said, until the Lord opens that door, let's go to Haiti. So we went to Haiti with the same vision. How do we find property that can be developed to create this vision? So many tens of thousands, my dad was involved along the way, and I know he had many prayers and tears go on for what took place. Basically, a number of bamboozlements from the highest to the government.
Very difficult. Our main men, the Haitian men that maybe some of you have met, Rob, that came home for Scots Memorial Service, was kidnapped after that, shortly after that, held at gunpoint, and it traumatized him a lot, and he was our man. And fighting being taken hostage, it makes you more nervous to continue working. And he's hiding for a long time. He came back and tried to sell everything and trying to go. So got bamboozlers and all kinds of problems.
All kinds of stuff. So until we continue to look, where is a piece of property where we can develop a school where we can feel we have accomplished what we went to Haiti to do? And so recently, what Johnson will describe now is some fellow Seventh-day Adventists have land. This is Ronald's land, the gentleman that worked for David Morgan. He wants to do the very same thing we do. And I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, so we got in touch with him, and he has people in the United States and friends of our friends and friends and family and stuff like that. So it's a big network of people that haven't seen anything that we have. He spent $100,000 of his own money, moved his family there. So it's not somebody that's visiting, that's trying to do something nice, and maybe they'll come back. And he's moved his family, spent all his money, sold all his holdings in the United States. And the building that we're sitting on right now is a building that's in the process of being constructed. And then he has several plots of land with the option to buy several more plots of land. But we went there to design his farm and to create a functional farm and the landscape and to build 2 nurseries. We built a composting large composting bin, a kitchen garden, little pathways, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. When we first got there,
isn't that beautiful? 2 hours on the Port-au-Prince, around my mountain.
It is, yeah, it's a very nice area. We were all very happy to go to Port-au-Prince to go there. This is what it looked like when we started. You can see kind of in the middle of the picture is a lot of erosion. The soil is just running off the hillside, and the weeds, they don't look that big from the roof, but then when you get down to them, they're 10 feet tall in some areas, and just thick weeds. A big problem to clear it all. Thankfully, we had these very nice fingerprints that were donated 8 months or last year ago, and we just hacked down and trimmed down the whole farm. In order to see what we were working with, we cut everything down, and then we tilled the soil with oxen and brought in thousands of pounds of rich farm soil from other sides of the property, and brought in a whole bunch of donkey dung. Thousands and thousands of pounds, days as a team of men carrying one shovel into the wheelbarrow at a time to bring in all the soil.
Now you're probably thinking, where's the John Deere 6300? Well, remember the whole spirit of self-sustentation is how can these people do it when we leave? Tractors bring fuel's expensive. So we try to keep it very simple, and those guys eat grass, so they're pretty easy to keep maintenance.
Yeah, the Haitian John Deere.
Yeah.
But the owner, Haitian John Deere. The owner of those, it was very cool. He had them completely verbally trained, and he would just go, soup, soup, and it would go where it wanted to go. And he said that, and I had to stop, slow down, speed up. I mean, it's like you can shit. It's very cool. We built channels to help with the erosion with 5 swells, digging down deep and layering rocks and rounding up and tampering down 5 different swells and go through to help with the erosion problem. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a big compost pit, so now everything that we cut down is composting right now. And all the waste that is just an actual process of preparing food and rotten fruit and whatever it is that you have, it's all going to be composted. And it's a huge, huge area, and you come here to the wall of the compost pit for all the waste. That's the first level of the house that they almost got finished. Okay. We camped in it for 2 weeks with no running water, no electricity, and lots of mosquitoes, and there's no vegetation. But I like the beauty of the scenery. It will attract them, and the truth will take hold upon their mind. The twofold, well, it's very hard for the truth to take hold on your mind when you're quarterbacks, because all you hear is all kinds of craziness going on.
Hit off cars,
screaming. We were walking with gunshots just before we left. People screaming, pop, 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 and then just everybody going nuts. It's hard for the truth to take hold. It's hard to even go to sleep in a situation like that. And the beauty of the scenery, I can show pictures all day. The beauty of the scenery quarterbacks is not, just scenery. So while we were developing the farm, we taught all of the kids in the area, which there are many. We taught the locals and the family and everybody how to plant and what the ABCs of education truly are. These little girls in their nice little dresses are learning to plant beans, and they're super excited about it. Super excited about it. The kids who were friends, not so excited. The kids here, very excited about it. Just fighting the work, we get to plant the next one, and learning how to plant the right width apart, the right depth, and very, very, very fun. Learning how to plant. These kids are learning, it's kind of hard to see, but they're making nursery cups out of newspaper, and then putting soil in the cup, putting a seed in the cup, put it in the nursery for several weeks for it to grow up to where it can survive in the field, and then you just transplant that little paper cup right into the soil, and the paper dissolves, so you don't have to uproot it and mess it up, and you got a much higher rate of survival for the plant. And it's very fun for the kids, they learn and they see their plants growing up. They plant their plant in the soil, and then they get, cucumbers off it or whatever it is that has been planted. And it's fun for the kids. It's very rewarding for the kids, and it teaches them so much more than just look, my plant grew up. They learn a whole variety of full spectrum of manual labor and education, problem solving, and perseverance and hard work, and all kinds of stuff. So then we had to irrigate and provide water for the farm that we developed. So we had to have a little creek on the property, about 1,000 feet from the farm. So we had a very nice pump and a bunch of little parts and hose, and it was actually very difficult to get everything to work nicely. There is some of the pipe that we used. We ended up having a little more than that, but 1,000 feet of pipe and the ditch that you have to dig to lay that pipe is a lot more of a project than we thought. We made little pathways that you see and decorative things, and landscaped with these hibiscus plants that you can eat the leaves of that are very nice, cranberry hibiscus. So not only do they have a nice functional farm, but it's very pretty. And along the way, we teach little kids how to do everything, how to glue the pipe together, putting the pipe down, playing with them, talking to one side of the pipe and 1,000 feet down, the kids are together and listening to the voice of the monkey into the pipe, it's fun.
Now, you told me that I think you have to take that pump down in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. We hopefully one day, if we can get more help, and more financial support can come in. We want to put sprinkler systems. Right now we put faucets, and you have to get the hose out, 150-foot hose, connect it to the first faucet, water, all by hand, into the next faucet. It's a two-man job most of the day. You have to carry down the 50-pound, the 75-pound pump, 1,000 feet down the hill. One person has to stay with it to make sure it doesn't get stolen, all that. For the whole time that they're watering down, it can be 4 hours. We let Philip down there for a while to watch it. He's down there for 2 hours, and we come back and he's like swimming in the pond. But he's been there for a long time waiting for the pump to have the babysit the pump. Yeah, it's there. You carry it back up, and it's a lot of work. We can build a little house for the pump, and we can put up sprinklers. Then we can just be turned on and do it all on its own. Okay. What's this bit here? That is a lot of the family and the community that help, and a lot of the kids that help. Just being happy is relieving. You're not happy is relieving, but happy from the progress that was made. Right. A lot of great people in the community there. Some more volunteers came after that. Jackie and Courtney, they brought down the shoeboxes that Kathy led to get all the donations to the shoeboxes full of supplies for the kids. We brought the people here. Yeah, thank you very much. The kids loved it. They opened the present. Don't get any presents. They opened the present of a brush and a toothpaste. And, driving a little toothpaste around on the ground and, flying the brush around, looking for all the stuff in the box, covering the little box up, putting it under the little mat, going back and getting the little box, opening it back up, driving a little toothbrush around. But it's a lot more than just the supplies. It's very good for the kids. All 10 bags full of supplies. I forget how many boxes, but it was a lot of products for a lot of people. And they got to work on the farm there, and we just created it. You can see the green at the bottom. After we left, we had crops that were left installed. The seed is very powerful, that big tree seed. It's really good. We planted in the hospital, and probably because of the conditions in the hospital, it took a week for something to come up, 2 weeks sometimes nothing comes up. But here, we had little cucumbers coming up 2 days later. Wow. It's very, very good conditions. So, I think it's really good. We passed it out in that area, in the new area, there was Donald and his family. And just great community. Some little kids there on the left, very happy to have them so far. Yeah. Very, very excited. These guys are very excited, even though they don't look very excited. They're serious, yes. Pictures are a serious thing. They don't get pictures every day. So, Mom's like, be serious. She's actually serious. She was smiling right before. She doesn't look at everything. Very serious. I'm like, smile. So we got an area very, very great. Tell me what he was doing when he's singing out of the city. Quiet, and you can hear everybody working the hills. The hills look easy far away, but you can hear the little kids that's around there. You can hear the moms preparing stuff, and you can hear them talking to their cattle, trying to make a left turn, a right turn. You can hear chickens. It's very non-American is a fluid in mind, so you got to talk about the gunshots. All right, we will get to that. One finger still hurts from that. We have one thing I'm learning from living in Port-au-Prince is emergency preparedness and patience and how to deal with difficult situations. People get hurt. People have my workers have blacked out, and I got to carry them to the hospital. They got stuck with their needles. We've all gotten weird infections, and Philip talked about his rib, his malaria. It's been lots of trouble. But this quote really speaks to that. The minister, the missionary, the teacher. It's not just people in foreign lands, the minister, the teacher. Everybody should have the fine influence of the people here in the increase. And it's manifested they possess the knowledge and skill required for the practical use of everyday life. So not just, I read about this, and I think this is a good idea, but I can show you this is what you can do to increase this or to improve that. Right. And all the success perhaps in early life in history depends on non-practical things, which I would hit that
Or high degrees.
The ability to prepare for it, which is something I'm still working on, to deal with accidents and emergencies, to preach the need to build a house or a church, if need be, often these make a difference between success and failure in his life work. So building a house, there's a lot of things that go into that, and the need for education in a lot of different manual trades to be able to fulfill this quote. And to be prepared for emergencies. Like this. There's a bullet hole that's about this size in the side of our truck. It's kind of a long story to describe everything that happened. We pretty much moved to the bank. We made a withdrawal. I went into the small little room where you go to have privacy. And only the people that work for the bank knew that you can either deposit or you can withdraw. Nobody really knows what you're doing. The people at the bank know that I withdrew American money in a large amount. And they see me inside there. They see what pocket I put my stuff in. I had cargo pants, multiple pockets. And they see that I put my money in my right pocket.
And you don't blend in with the crowd necessarily.
Not that well, yeah. Red shirt, so easily done. Red shirt.
How much money did you get started?
I was just $700, and my passport, my bank card, all in my little bag. But then we leave, and as we're driving until 10 o'clock in the morning, in a crowded area, somebody comes up around. I have the driver. It's like we're sitting like this. My friend's driving, Ronald's driving, and a man comes around with a gun, and he's just kind of looking around. And I don't really put together that he's coming for me, because he's not with the gun at me, just kind of brandishing his weapon.
So you're inside the car?
Well, he comes around the driver's side, comes in front of the car, we're stuck in traffic, and comes up to my side.
I did have a lucky day, let me just tell you.
He starts yelling through all the roads, and I have my iPhone in one hand, I have my camera in the next hand, I have cash in the other hand, a little bit of dudes that I'm about to bicycle with. And he goes right to my pocket, reaches in the car, goes right to trying to get inside my pocket. So he knows, somehow he knows that that's a pocket, I've got multiple pockets. I'm holding electronics and cash. It wasn't a stick them up, let me get your stuff,
So we told him, so somebody at the bank told us that was got the money.
Fired another round with the dash, and then he gets away, and I immediately yells, drive. And he fires again as he's outside, and shoots the bullet hole inside of the car. As we get down the road, we find out that the ones that could have been in my feet were misfires. No bullet came out of the gun for the ones that could have been in one of us. No hole in the car. I mean, obvious, that it was right there in the ground. Could have been my foot, could have been my thigh, could have been an e-model, whatever could have happened. But obviously, no bullets came out, and then obviously it didn't work because it made a big hole in the gun. And at the same time that this is happening, Donald's wife is claiming a promise in this text that no weapons are forced against you will work. She had another instance where she was claiming a promise at the same time, right at the same time. Somebody else did what's in Haiti, had somebody come up and said, I'm your utility, and fired the gun in his face, and nothing happened. Fired it in his face, nothing happened. Fired it in the air, the bullets came out, and he's just so freaked out he left. The wife was being the promise at the same time and claiming the promise at this time. So it's amazing. It's amazing when you hear somebody else tell the story, but then when you have it happen and it doesn't walk right between your legs, it's even more. It's crazy. It's very bad.
The text became a lot.
So those things should make us give up. We can't get discouraged. We're not to give up in discouragement. Whatever emergency we see folks, we have significant resources at his command. Often we shall be surrounded with trying circumstances, and then in the fullest confidence we must depend upon God. He will keep every soul in its broad complexity through trying to keep the way of the Lord. So you try to keep the way of the Lord, and He's going to watch you back. It's very good. And I saw a presentation about the words perplexity. Somebody did a study on where that came from and has linked that. It was, we saw the same thing. It's linked it to perplexity meaning the lack of resources, and the lack of funds, the lack of food, the lack of all these things. So that is coming quickly. We're already seeing the lack of everything. The rest is just beautiful pictures and how nice it is, beautiful pictures of the people that we're working with, and just showing you why we're still there and why we're dealing with all the problems and what keeps us going. You know, this little girl in that last picture, you got to be with everybody all the time and communicating constantly. She fell and broke her arm, and nobody knows what to do and how to take care of them. They can't raise themselves. They need education. They need a lot of help.
Now, something that you're flipping through these pictures, John has hired about 100 guys to work with in Haiti. He's not been able to do all this work by himself, so he's had to hire people. And my dad and he had worked with all these different guys, and out of all those 100, how many of you found that are trustworthy and faithful?
I agree. Out of the more than 100 that can do a good job and protect me from emergencies and are committed to the work.
And so, okay, what are ways in which people can help? Obviously, financial, that's an easy one. If you're going to keep this going, it needs resources. All the money coming in is going down there, so you're not bad in your pockets. You know that. What other ways can people help?
Anybody that can come down and do like Jack did, everybody can teach something. Everybody has a skill that they can teach them, and everybody can come. I see a wide variety of people, even though it's dangerous, that, a wide variety of people come down and help and visit, and that's a great thing. Anybody knows people that are coming, communication between all of us, between the churches, between the families, between anybody that we know that is coming or that can come. To Ron's property, people are coming from Bass Academy, people are coming from Southern. The people that came from London to work with us, it's like 24 little girls, and they did a great job. They carried blocks outside the mountain. They worked with all the kids. So people coming is a great way to help. The financial needs are huge. We could spend very responsibly. We could spend $1 million quickly on the needs. Things are expensive.
What about? I'm sure there's ways people can pray.
Yeah, the wife of the net praying, telling that promise at the right time. Prayer is powerful, and everyone can pray.
And there's another way that John's found that really gets people's attention is sharing these pictures. Every day he's faithful to take pictures before and after. How many are on that mailing list? If you raise your hand. Okay, just a few. Talk to John. Do you have his contact information somewhere?
Yeah.
Talk to John about how to get on that list, because it's a huge blessing if you just shared it with people. Maybe your employer, maybe your friend, cousin. Hey, look what they're doing with this project in Haiti. I'm talking to the guys doing it. The money is in trustworthy hands. They have a track record that they're doing these projects. And just sharing those pictures with people helps them see, hey, this is the project, and it actually will get done. So you can just social media-wise share it. We're on Facebook, the Beehives, and website beehive.com, and then email John to ask what can I do, how can I help?
Yeah, then we can have a little paper back at the end of the service that people can just write down their address and I'll send them the pictures. But it's a fun mission spotlight type of thing that you can show your kids at night, or you can just have it as a workshop before, or just look at it whenever you have spare time and see what's going on. The months and months and months that have passed, and the thousands and thousands of dollars and the hundreds of people that have participated, you can't do a half-an-hour presentation on all that. So I looked through thousands of pictures, and there are so many people that have stories that it's impossible to follow it unless you are following it every couple of days.
Right. And all the donations are tax deductible. And if you have any interest in the mission field, this would be a great place to get your feedback. And I think we're going to see some exciting things happen in the coming year, especially with this project that we're listed together.
Yeah, I think we'll have a very shortly. We may have a place for people to come and stay. they talked about getting us a room that is a good sized room that can house, a dozen people.
In the countryside, say, more
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never heard of anything negative happening in the countryside.
Okay.
It's for the friends that's in big trouble.
Got it. All right, let's close with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity we've had to share. Lord, we thank you that you present to us opportunities where we can be a part of your work in a variety of ways. We thank you, Lord, that this church has a burden on its heart for this local community, as well as the mission field around the world. And Lord, we believe that it is our duty and responsibility to reveal to the world the character of what your government looks like, what heaven will be like. And Lord, I pray that we can help empower people to help them become self-sustaining, as well as those of us in this work that are desiring to become self-sustaining. So we thank you for hearing this prayer, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I wanted to share one more thing. This is kind of cool. This is a little project. With the difficulty of raising funds, sometimes you start to think, well, how can we help do this? Because, John literally does not get paid anything. So it's like, my heart goes out just thinking, how do we make this work go forward? So we created something called GrowBox, which is basically how to teach everything we know about gardening in a little bitty box. So the people in the States can pay a little bit to do this, but on the back is proceeds from this will go to agricultural education around the world. So we should be thinking of these things in all different facets. Trafficking. Atlanta is the largest sex trafficking city in the world. More young ladies are taken from here around the world and become lifelong slaves in the sex trade than any other city in the world. We should be thinking of ways to fund the operations that save those young ladies and get them out so that they can become self-sustaining. It's not just one thing to bring a young lady out of prostitution. You have to help them find a job. So there's all these entities that can really give us opportunity that God's providing. So thank you for letting me share. Appreciate it.